They told you that Erika Kirk was continuing Charlie Kirk's legacy, and the truth is she's not. Right when Charlie started questioning a specific nation, they took him out. Almost like they just wiped it away, because he was getting too close to the truth. Erika Kirk, the grieving widow who never once smudged her dark eyeshadow, now says the show will go on, and she forgives him. She forgives the man who we know isn't even probably the guy. And guess what? Her father worked for Raytheon's Israeli division. This isn't Charlie's legacy. And here's what we're not supposed to talk about. There is no coroner's report, no church funeral, no burial site, no official autopsy.
Girl, y'all need to grab a seat for this one because this tea is sizzling hot. So it's been just over a month since the whole Charlie Kirk shooting went down, while the alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, is currently facing trial in what people are calling one of the most secretive court cases in American history, all thanks to that tight gag order and the ban on cameras and videos in court. But it looks like it will take far more than a gag order to stop Candace from speaking about Charlie Kirk's situation, because she just violated the gag order. And baby, she just broke her silence again, and she is spilling some major tea about Charlie's wife, Erika Kirk, from how she had a sizable control over his life and decision making at Turning Point America before his passing, to her controversial rise as CEO of Turning Point, and even claims that Erika knew what was coming. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, Candace is also dragging Erika's mother into the mix, suggesting she played a huge role in everything that went down. Buckle up, because we're about to unpack every piece of this jaw-dropping story. In case you missed it, ever since Charlie Kirk's shocking assassination, Candace Owens has been on a mission to dig deeper and figure out if there's more to the shooting than the official story the FBI is telling the public. And let's just say, she has been exposing the misinformation the FBI has been feeding the public, including lies that the alleged shooter they have in their custody, Tyler Robinson, was handed over to the authorities by his family after seeing his face on national TV. Also, the alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, is now in FBI custody and facing trial in what many are calling one of the most secretive court cases in U.S. history, like cameras banned, video recordings not allowed, and to top it off, the court even slapped a gag order on everyone involved, including Candace herself, to keep them from spilling any more tea about what's really going on.
As if the Charlie Kirk saga couldn't get any more bizarre, the trial of Tyler Robinson is starting off on a very interesting path. Judge Tony Graff, who's just been on the bench for 56 days, you would think that they would get someone with a little bit more experience, has imposed one of the strictest gag orders I've ever heard of, prohibiting anyone connected to the case from speaking to the media, citing concerns about pre-trial publicity and fairness. Now, the media, gag order. Lawyers, gag order. Law enforcement, gag order. The 3,000 people that were there, gag order. Candace Owens, gag order. She wasn't even there. And speaking of Candace Owens, she says she's got some information that she uncovered in the last week, which shows that Kirk was betrayed by everybody. Turning Point USA, gag order. I don't know what, everybody, gag order. The judge said regardless of who is watching, whether it's the nation or a single individual, we must fulfill our roles with integrity, civility, and diligence. Well, integrity and diligence, integrity of the crime scene would have been a good start. Maybe roping it off and not just cementing over it right after the guy, autopsy maybe, ballistics, something. Gag order. It's going to be interesting. Story developing.
Now here's the crazy part, Candace, along with a few other content creators who've been doing their own digging into this whole Charlie Kirk situation, just got slapped with a gag order from the court. Yep, we're officially barred from speaking publicly about anything related to the case while it's still in trial. They don't want online opinions or influencer narratives shaping how the public views the case. This came just a few weeks after Charlie was shot, when the FBI started pointing fingers at creators, claiming they were spreading unverified or misleading info without hard evidence. However, it looks like it's going to take more than a court ruling on gagging the media and everyone connected to the case to stop Candace Owens from speaking about her discoveries in the Charlie Kirk shooting case. Because days after the court announced the gag order, Candace Owens made some pretty big announcement about Charlie's wife Erika, the nature of their relationship, and her mom in all of these. Now, Candace is alleging that she believes Erika Kirk was strategically placed into Charlie's life as a honeypot and a stepping stone to a larger position, which which has just happened with Erika taking over the leadership of Turning Point America. And if you are wondering how Erika got placed into Charlie's life, wait till you hear this. Now here's where things start to get really interesting. So Erika's mom moved to Scottsdale years ago to start up a security company, but that's not even the juicy part. In one of Erika's old interviews, she straight up mentioned that her mom had connections with the DOJ and Homeland Security.
Hey, can I ask a question? It's maybe off topic. How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here. Especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry, even one that was a mentor of hers. So it was really convenient to be able to come all together in one place to really have that. But my father ended up moving out here as well because my grandparents had a home out in Sun City. And so it took a little bit to get everyone out here. It took several years, but by that time, everyone was out here. So we had a little bit more family than just us.
And for those who don't understand what this means, let me break it down. Her mom allegedly had access to some of the most powerful government systems in the country. Word on the street is she even trained Erika to be what some people are calling a honeypot. And if you think that sounds far-fetched, just ask yourself how Erika ended up winning Miss Arizona on her first try in the pageant world. Yeah. Something about that timing just feels a little too perfect. If that doesn't sound fishy, wait till you hear how she met Charlie. According to Erika, she first met Charlie while she was in Israel with her mom, who, according to Candace, actually encouraged her to get closer to him.
I know how Erika and Charlie met. Do you want to know how they met? Okay, let's find out.
So if you ask him, this is the typical husband-wife. Like the husband has a very Spark Notes version, condensed, and then the woman has the longer, more meandering version. So I'll try to blend the two. But the interesting point is that year, that was in August. In May, I had taken a pilgrimage with my mom to Israel. And my whole intention of that trip was to find my future husband. If there was a hole in a rock anywhere to put a prayer, and those of you who've been to Israel, you know that the Wailing Wall, all the different places you can stick a prayer on a little piece of paper, that was me. Like, had a piece of paper everywhere. And so I usually don't tell this part because it's very intimate, but I feel like I should. Bloom where you're planted, right? There's only a few flights out at the night in Israel back to the States. And so I was standing there at the ticket line, and there was a guy who was checking out
Fate or something else brought them together again when Charlie later interviewed her for a role at Turning Point USA. But here's where things take a wild turn. Candace is now allegedly spilling the tea that Erika had connections to Israeli intelligence, who by the way may have been responsible for the shooting, and the mole who made all of it happen was his wife, Erika. And it doesn't stop there. Candace is alleging that beyond being a honeypot, Erika had major control over Charlie, both personally and professionally. Word is, even before he passed, she was called shots at Turning Point despite not being an official board member. From allegedly pulling in Israeli donations in exchange for Charlie promoting Israel's image to Americans, to even helping facilitate meetings with Israeli leaders, Candace says Erika and her mom's connections to powerful intelligence circles helped turn Turning Point into Israel's biggest non-state actor partner in the USA. To make all of this happen, Erika allegedly had to get Candace out of the picture. Now, y'all remember, Candace and Charlie practically built Turning Point America from the ground up together, but then out of nowhere, they just drifted apart. Well, according to Candace, that wasn't by accident. She's claiming that Erika was the one who pushed Charlie to cut ties with her because she saw Candace as a threat, someone who could stand in the way of her taking full control of Turning Point. And yeah, Erika did not just influence Charlie to push Candace out of Turning Point. She made sure people who shared the same sentiment as her were employed.
Is Candace even involved in Charlie Kirk's life at all?
No question, proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this, what I already know was a very quiet breakup where she got too rabbit hole for him. She would be the logical heir to MTP USA throne, but she's
And
not.
now she's not
because
even invited.
Correct. So this is
So,
their divide is.
Wait a minute, not invited, meaning
She's not even there.
Yeah, she's not
there.
one of the names
Wait,
that
you don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No.
That's
I mean,
not the funeral.
The heir to
I'm saying
MTP
okay.
USA throne.
She doesn't speak at the events anymore.
I mean,
People who were pro-Israel, who were loyal to the donors over what Turning Point stood for. And we all saw this when Candace leaked this screenshot of a conversation between Charlie and someone from Turning Point America, which everyone thought might have been fake, until Josh Hammer, a Turning Point staff member, confirmed it was real and admitted he was actually the one texting with Charlie in that conversation.
But I want to take the start of this show to address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there.
And honestly, this all starts to make a lot of sense when you hear what's coming out from people inside Turning Point. Word is, right after Charlie's tragic shooting, the board immediately started discussing who would take over as CEO. And guess who was reportedly at the top of that list? Yep, Candace Owens. Even though she wasn't as active in the day-to-day Turning Point events anymore, she still sat on the board, and a lot of members apparently wanted her to step up. However, right before their elections, the major donors threatened to pull their funding if Erika wasn't unanimously voted in as president. Plus, it is alleged that President Trump himself put in a word of support for Erika to take the CEO role. So, when you piece all of that together, it starts looking a lot less like a coincidence and a whole lot more like a power play that had been in the works for a while. Honestly, Candace exposing how Charlie Kirk allegedly controlled and betrayed Charlie when he decided to stop playing the so-called Israeli game is wild. But if we're keeping it real, a lot of people have been side-eyeing Erika ever since the shooting went down. From that oddly calm speech she gave just days after Charlie's death to how she jumped right back into hosting his talk show barely 2 weeks later, fans couldn't help but notice something fell off. She didn't exactly come across like a woman who just lost her husband and the father of her kids. So, if Candace is right about Erika being some sort of honey pot planted in Charlie's life, then it kind of explains a lot. And honestly, it might also explain why the government was so quick to slap that gag order on private investigators and content creators like Candace. Because if these revelations are even partly true, they don't just change the narrative. They flip the entire investigation on its head. Candace Owens exposing Charlie Kirk for allegedly controlling and betraying Charlie had fans losing it online, and they left comments saying it's pretty obvious that Erika has been groomed her whole life for a very public role, and she has an Omega symbol branded on her hand. What role exactly are they trying to put her in? First female press? I don't know, but whatever it is will not be a good thing. Anyone who has ever watched 90 Day Fiancé or just basic street smarts will notice a familiar look in her eyes. She wasn't in love with that man. She was with him. Unfortunately, he was in love. This is well known amongst the Pinocchio tribe. They used their women to get control of infiltrate groups. The most famous one is maybe Esther and Persia. They f***ed up Persia in the process. Of course, same with some Arab leaders, stars of Russia. So what do y'all think? Was Erika really planted in Charlie's life as a honeypot, like Candace claims, or is Candace just connecting dots that aren't really there? Drop your thoughts down below. I want to know what side you're on. And when you're done, don't forget to check out the next video because this story just keeps getting crazier.